Hello, I'm here to discuss politicians and elections in this informative speech. I've noticed that politicians who are composed, empathetic, and sane are more likely to win elections than otherwise because people can respect them and relate to them. Some examples of this are Bill Clinton's victory in the 1992 U.S. presidential election and Obama's victories in the 2008 and 2012 presidential elections. The final example is Phil Davidson's defeat in the 2010 Stark County Treasurer election. During the 1992 presidential election, in one debate, George H.W. Bush, the 41st president, got the short end of the stick because he was the incumbent Republican president who had to go right before Bill Clinton. When the debate moderator asked President Bush how the 90s recession and national debt affected him, he tried to answer the question, but because the moderator interrupted him, he spoke very irritably to the moderator when he found out something he could use, and he came off as unfeeling because he was irritated. He also sounded insincere because the only example he could give was that he went to church to learn more about poor people. It also didn't help that he was the incumbent Republican president because people tend to think of Republicans as mean, greedy, selfish, and lazy because they rely too much on laissez-faire, non-government intervention, and they believe the economy can self-correct, and because of that, some of them can be lazy and complacent, and they rely too much on tax cuts for the rich, and because of that, some greedy billionaires won't even pay employees a decent living wage. Bill Clinton, on the other hand, was a Democratic Arkansas governor at the time he ran against President Bush. He could relate to people losing their jobs during the 90s recessions because he knew those people who lost their jobs because his job as governor was to help them find a job when they were unemployed and help them live a better life. Clinton was associated with the Democratic Party, which had a huge advantage because people think Democrats help disabled people most of all. And also, most people are Democratic because they love the welfare state where everyone gets stuff for free. Clinton also had the upper hand because he had more time to plan his response since he went after Bush, and because of that, he executed it so well. He made himself look a lot better than George H.W. Bush. The second example I have is when President Barack Obama ran in 2008 and 2012 against Senator John McCain and Governor Mitt Romney. When he ran against McCain and Romney got the short end of the stick because they were compared to George W. Bush. In 2008, when George W. Bush was unpopular, President Obama said Senator McCain was too much like George W. Bush because McCain was too optimistic about the market's self-correcting ability, and McCain supported the Bush tax cuts and voted for the 2003 Iraq invasion. McCain was angry sometimes even furious by this, and this killed his chances because he came off as hostile because he was irritated by Obama accusing him of being too much like President Bush. McCain coming off as hostile made people agree with Obama even more because George W. Bush was very aggressive and impulsive, and because of McCain being too hostile, it made people think he would be aggressive and impulsive just like Bush, and Obama defeated McCain in 2008 because of this. In 2012, Governor Romney was at a huge disadvantage because he said 47% of Americans were victims who were unconditional Obama supporters because they were dependent upon government and paid no income tax. Governor Romney was crucified by the Obama and the liberal media because the 47% comment made him look like he was unfeeling. This is why Obama got reelected in 2012. The final example is Phil Davidson's defeat in the 2010 Stark County Treasurer election. He made himself look like a complete idiot during his 2010 speech when he went around fidgeting, pointing fingers at the audience, and shouting at the audience. Since he made a fool out of himself and came off as hostile, How could people even trust the guy to help them when they were in times of need? This is why politicians need to be composed, sympathetic, and sane. This makes them look more respectable, sincere, and caring, so they people can relate to them, and people will be more willing to support them. Thank you.